Well, howdy, Night City. Andrew here at SHOT 2023 with Augie, a TNVC, Tactical Night Vision Company. First of all, I want to express a great deal of gratitude to you folks. You have been a major player in growing our channel and our reach to our audience.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping us get out the two-way propaganda and building our audience and just helping us. You know, it may sound like I'm full of myself or something, but I really think that what we're doing is important, that it matters. I believe that if we do it right, that we can change the world. I believe that putting arms in the hands of the common man is the right thing to do. And you guys, through your sponsorship, have made that more possible.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, we also agree that it's important. We're happy to support, we're happy to help, and happy to be a part of this.
If you didn't know, Augie here is TNVC. He's a combat veteran, ran a bunch of grunts downrange for a long time, and he's got a lot of experience, not just in the industry of buying, selling, using night vision, but he's got a lot of experience downrange using night vision to make bad guys not do bad things anymore. So talk to us about what's new. What do you want to show off?
Yeah, so I mean, we've got several new products and recent product releases that we've got. Starting over here, so we are continuing to expand our M81 collection. So obviously, this is the OpticsOne Fast SF.
M81 being the OG woodland pattern, because you know that's what's in fashion these days, right?
So God's plaid. It's God's plaid. So we've got these exclusive OpticsOne helmets, hydro dipped in M81 in the M81 woodland pattern. This is a TNVC exclusive from our friends over at OpticsOne. And last year we released the Fast SF ballistic, kind of the baseline ballistic helmet in the M81 woodland collection. So this year we're expanding the line to all of the helmets within the OpticsOne Fast SF ecosystem. So that includes the Fast SF Carbon, like this one, as well as the Fast XR, the Fast XP, and the Fast RF1 are all going to be available in M81 Woodland.
Cool.
We've also got PVS 14. We're also going to be releasing that to go along because everything's, you know, if you're gonna have meme camo, it's got to match.
Yeah, right.
You know, if it doesn't match, then what's the point? So we're of course going to be releasing
let's be
matching
honest,
PVS 14.
There is a segment of the market out there, regardless of where you're positioned in the firearms world. There's a segment of your customers that are really just buying it for that IG flex anyway. You know.
Yeah.
You got to definitely coordinate the color, the camouflage patterns, or your IG flex is weak.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So we got a PVS 14, OpticsOne helmet, and you expanded the hydro dip.
From just
camo.
one helmet model to all of the helmet models within the OpticsOne Fast ecosystem.
Sweet.
So, and that includes another exciting new product that we've got. Is the newest version of the OpticsOne Fast bump helmet. So a lot of folks might be familiar with the old bump helmet. It's the molded plastic shell instead of the carbon fiber or the carbon composite shell. This is also a molded polymer shell, but instead of the molded in shroud that the previous bumps had, this is drilled for a 4-hole shroud. You can see here it integrates the vented Lux liner that comes standard on all the rest of the Fast SF family, as well as having that super high cut profile. You know, you can take a look at it. It doesn't feel like a plastic helmet. It feels extremely sturdy.
Yeah, it's very rigid.
Yeah.
Think I can get it under? Nope. It's not for my dome. Yeah, it feels stiffer.
Yeah. So I mean, huge improvement over the legacy Fast bump. Not that the Fast bump. I mean, we use the Fast. I've got several of them. Have used them for years. But it's definitely an improved iteration of that particular product. So these are also going to be available in the M81 Woodland as part of the M81 collection. And they also feature the new these new rails from OpticsOne, which are eventually going to be integrated into all of the Fast SF family. But you can see that they actually integrate cable management for your NVGs into the rail system. So this is a modification that a lot of guys have done over the years. You know, they've kind of cut channels for the cables within the rails. Yeah. But so now it's going to come like that from the factory, and then they're compatible with all of the Fast SF shim ecosystem-based accessories. You just no longer need the shim that like you did on the Fast SFs.
Okay.
Another new product that we have is this Noise Fighters arm for the PVS-14. So it allows you to helmet mount, or I'm sorry, for the FLIR breach. So it allows you to helmet mount thermal monocular to your helmet, be able to use it in hands-free mode. There have been a couple of solutions out there for dual mounting the FLIR breach with the PVS-14, but that's a pretty heavy setup. So we went ahead and worked with Noise Fighters to develop this single arm that allows you to have just the FLIR breach mounted to your helmet. Just like all of the other AX-14 arms, it features articulation. You can shift it from eye to eye if need be. And then this one also features our mini rail for the FLIR breach and any other night vision device that uses a MUM-style rail. And it allows you to mount our Tor Mini IR laser to it. So if you look at a lot of military thermals and a lot of thermal devices, they have an onboard IR pointer, so that if you are working with other people who are using night vision goggles, so you can designate what it is that you're looking at. With the FLIR breach, that's always, it's always lacked that capability. So we came up with Echo arms with this mini rail that allows you to mount our Tor Mini to that, and then now you have an IR designator for your FLIR breach.
That's pretty legit. So what do we got here?
So this is the AB Night Vision articulating ruggedized night vision goggle, the ARNVG.
Okay. So it looks a lot like a set of 31s.
Yeah, so it's really kind of a hybrid between the AB Night Vision RNVG, which has been an extremely common product, and devices like the PVS-31 or the DTNVS that have this articulation feature, and so you can adjust the interpupillary distance by pivoting the optical pods off to the side. So, like the RNVG, it's an extremely rugged system, all aluminum construction. It is going to be, all aluminum machined housing, native external battery pack capability. It is going to be a little bit more affordable than some of the comparable options on the market.
Okay.
So
that's always good to hear.
A couple other items that we've got. So we're going to be announcing that we are now the exclusive distributor for the Villain Weapons Systems EFL, which is the enhanced focus lens for the L3 Harris ATPLC infrared lasers.
That's what this unit is.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is basically an attachment for the ATPLC. So the ATPLC is the civilian version. It's the commercial version of the PEC-15 IR laser that a lot of folks are already familiar with. Because the FDA regulates laser output power, to class 1 for unrestricted commercial sales. A lot of folks have found that the performance of the ATPLC's illuminator is a little. It's not as good as the Class 3B, what people call full power or standard power variant that's available to government customers. So this focusing lens from Villain Weapons Systems, it basically takes that Class 1 IR laser. There's a medium range variant and a long range variant. So the medium range variant focuses that beam to a 2-degree to a 2-degree beam, whereas the long-range variant goes down to a 1-degree beam. And it basically allows you to get a little bit more kick, a little bit more oomph out of that IR illuminator, making it much more effective, much more useful. Even for any kind of any kind of duty use. So it's a great addition to the AT-PLC. I mean, there are thousands of AT-PLCs out there, and there's still a lot of folks that love the AT-PLC, especially folks that are used to the PEC 15. One of the things that we always talk about, I mean, really when it comes down to it, familiarity with your lasers, the ability to use them and to know exactly what mode they're on in the dark by feel is extremely important thing. So a lot of times, people will sometimes stick to what they know.
Yeah.
Even if there's a little bit of a penalty in performance. So
that allows you to take a commercial version of the. This is just for the illuminator, not the laser designator.
Right.
And
well, so class 1 IR aiming laser. I mean,
it's a laser, and a laser is collimated light, but nothing's perfectly collimated. So as those beams of light are coming out, they're diverging slightly. Yeah. And if we add a lens, we can cause them to converge slightly. And then at a specified distance, there'll be a focal point where, say, 50 meters, that's where they're all coming together. And the distances before that and after that, they're still a smaller dot than they would be without that focusing lens. So we're taking a commercial version of the illuminator, and without adding any power, we're causing the photons to converge toward themselves a little better and keeping it tighter so that you can pick it up better in your nods downrange.
Yep.
Word.
All right, so the next item that we have over here is the Wilcox Industries RAID XE. This is, a lot of people have been looking, waiting for this for quite a long time. I think we talked about this in our video last year, the RAID XE. We had one of the prototypes of the Class 1 versions. So they have now been released in small numbers, and so they're starting to get out there and they're starting to ship. And we also have the Wilcox Erg Octo vertical control grip. So you can see that it's a dual device control grip. It connects to the RAID XE, as well as to any kind of Surefire format light.
So we've got a single switch.
Yep.
Okay. And that's going to control both devices.
And the reason that it's called the Octo is that you can remove this here and you can actually select the orientation.
Oh, okay.
Of, as it suits your use and as it suits your comfort.
Depending on whether you want to actually wrap your fingers around the grip or use it as a hand stop. Okay. I don't think I've ever seen a company with do that sort of thing where you can index the switch wherever you want.
Daniel Defense did it with one of their vertical grips several years ago. I mean, it's not a new idea, but it's not as common.
It's pretty
these
cool.
days.
I clearly don't see it a lot.
All right.
Okay. So, looking at this, I called it an E-Cody. It's not an E-Cody, but apparently it's similar. You said this is a TAD?
So this is our kind of big announcement for SHOTShow 2023. This is a product that we've worked on with OpticsOne. So OpticsOne is a manufacturer of the E-Cody, the AN PAS29 Bravo enhanced clip-on thermal imager.
So, and to unpack that for the folks who didn't follow the E-Cody, as you can see there, it's clipped on the outside of the panos here, but you can clip it on any light amplification.
Right. So OpticsOne has brackets for pretty much every modern night vision goggle out there in existence, so you can adapt the E-Cody, or now the TAD, because they use the same mounts.
And that
to pretty
adds
much
thermal
any,
capability to regular light amplification night
Right.
vision.
Yeah, and so the backstory behind the E-Cody is that the E-Cody for a while, E-Cody is a fantastic device. It's got ATAC capabilities, so it allows you to tie into a common operational picture. It provides augmented reality, has a heads-up display, all integrated into the device. And if you have access to that kind of encrypted networking infrastructure, I mean, it's a fantastic tool for the warfighter. For a long time, the E-Cody was restricted from commercial sales, and one of the reasons was because there was a little bit of hesitation about providing those capabilities, but actually TNVC was able to work with OpticsOne to be able to release the fully capable E-Cody to the commercial market a few years ago, and so that's been an extremely successful product. However, if you don't have
there's
all
a
of
lot
that
of features you don't
networking
need.
framework, right? If you don't have access to that networking framework, which a lot of the networking framework itself is restricted to government use, you're paying for a lot of capability with the E-Cody that you may not really be able to use, you may not really have a use for. So pretty much immediately, one of the things that we talked to OpticsOne about is I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for using this term, but we kind of asked them, could you make a dumb E-Cody?
Yeah, well,
Because a lot of customers, if you need those, if you need the augmented reality and network capabilities of the E-Cody, it's a fantastic device, but we also recognize the fact that a lot of customers, especially a lot of commercial customers, a lot of civilian customers, what they're really wanting, what they're really looking for is just that thermal capability.
yeah.
And that thermal fusion capability. And so, after a while of going back and forth, OpticsOne was finally able to develop the TAD, the thermal augmentation device. So it is an E-Cody style device. It's a little bit smaller, it's a little bit lighter. So as you can see, it can actually fit centerline mounted above the GPNVGs here, with a lot of devices. If you look at this Artemis here, one of the complaints of devices like the E-Cody or the Cody was that, it sticks off to the side. It's not exactly, it does add a little bit to your profile there. But these are, I guess you could call these poor man's fusion panos.
Yeah. So, and for the viewers, the reason that matters is if you're not super familiar with night vision, traditional, pretty much everything you see here, except for the TAD and the E-Cody, it just amplifies the light that your eye would normally see. Yes, most of them are more sensitive outside the range of visible light, a little bit of IR and whatnot, but for the most part, if you couldn't see a man crouching beneath that tree in broad daylight, you're not going to be able to see him at night with night vision.
Right. So with an image intensified night vision device, camouflage is still effective. Ambient lighting conditions. So what the addition of the thermal device is, it adds that superior detection capability to the device, and so being able to have a fusion device. If you look at it, the Marine Corps adopted the SBNVG, which is a fusion device actually with the E-Cody. The Army is adopting the ENVG-B, which is the enhanced vision night vision goggle binocular. Another fusion device. So
the obvious question is, well, why do we need to do this fusion? Why wouldn't we just do thermal? Well, if something's not radiating thermal energy, it's practically invisible to thermal. So you get, with the light amplification, you get to see things that are not necessarily as active.
At the end of the day, image intensified night vision is going to be vastly superior for any kind of movement and maneuver.
Targeting?
Because it's what's referred to as a direct view system.
Yeah.
So, it's analog image intensifier tube. The lag between the image going into the tube and hitting your eye is basically the speed of light as the photons go through the image intensifier tube, versus a thermal device which has to process the image.
Yeah.
So thermals, all
So there's some
thermals are
latency.
digital devices,
Okay.
right? So there is a little bit of latency. So especially if you're doing any kind of fast-moving activities like closing with and destroying the enemy,
Yeah.
you want to use
Like basically any goon stuff that you would do with night vision.
right.
But for real, there are distinct advantages to both thermal and light amplification, and by putting them together, we get to kind of have our cake.
Yeah,
and eat it too.
you kind of have the best of both worlds. You have the detection capability of a thermal device, and then you have the maneuver. You have the situational awareness, the positive ID, and the maneuver capabilities of an image-intensified night vision device.
Okay, so the obligatory questions that we always ask at SHOT are how much is it, and when can I have it? With the obvious caveat here that some of this stuff is, and we often get comments about this. Some of this stuff is ITAR controlled. This is outside of TNVC's ability. Augie here, I've spent some quality time with him, making some pews and hanging out and drinking bourbon in the hotel lobby way later than we ought to. But I can, if I may speak for you, Augie wants you out there all to have bearable arms, night vision, all of that, because we all believe in the Second Amendment. I believe that this is all part of it. But there are things outside of your control. You didn't write ITAR, you don't enforce it. So there's some things that the government will not allow Augie to sell to you. That's not because he doesn't want to.
However, with the TAD, that is not a problem whatsoever because the TAD was designed as a commercial device from the get-go. So it is ITAR controlled, so we can't export it without license. But for U.S. persons, for domestic customers, it is unrestricted, commercially available, or will be commercially available exclusively through TNVC with a retail price of $6,500, which is a lot of money. It's definitely a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
But-
It sounds like, but thermal, right?
Well, in comparison to the E-Cody, which is about $9,200, it's
Well, I want
significant
to put it
savings.
in perspective, in that basically everything that's thermal tends to be more expensive than just light amplification. And in the context of the E-Cody, so you're talking going from 9,000 to 6,000, roughly. That's a substantial savings. Yeah, I mean, removing those, it was mainly just the cryptographic components, right?
It definitely makes that that fusion capability much more accessible than it was. The first step was to make the E-Cody available just at all. So if you had the money, you could buy it to get it unrestricted. And then the next step was to create a more commercially focused device that from the get-go had no government-only restrictions, only the relevant ITAR restrictions, and that was within a realistic price range for a civilian, for a citizen consumer.
Well, I'm really grateful that you did. I think it's really impressive that you were able to make it happen, work with all the various different agencies and companies to get it done. Thank you for all the stuff that you do, all the cool toys that you make available for us. I love hanging out with you guys. A little while back, the ARFCOM team came out to Oklahoma. We did some shooting. We got really cold. We had a blast. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate you taking us out there. I appreciate you supporting our show. I appreciate you giving us this content here at SHOT. I appreciate you putting up with my BS. I appreciate you guys for watching. Please support our sponsors. We can't do it without them. I love you.